Hello, I'm going to do a tutorial today and I'm going to be using HairTools for Blender. It is an add-on and it is fantastic. So bear with me, this is the first time I've ever done a Blender tutorial. I'm definitely not a Blender professional by all means, so like I said, bear with me. So I'm going to show you how to create some fast and easy hair, and I will give you an example of what I'm talking about. But this is definitely this is actually the end result, and I have 3 different layers, and I'm only looking at about a little over about 2,400 triangles, so that's pretty small for like game hair. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a sphere, and my model is quite large, so I'm going to have to scale this right about like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, edit modifier, shrink wrap, choose the base body, and you're going to set the offset so that it's just covering the head. And then what I make sure to do as well is first you're going to apply your modifier. And then you're going to go into edit mode and you're going to select it all and you're going to do Alt J and you're going to make sure that you remove any triangles. So I just bring these all up to, I bring the max face angle and the max shape angle to 180. And then you're going to hit A on your keyboard and unselect everything, and now you're going to just select the bottom half. Hit delete vertices. You're going to go up to the top. You're going to select the vertex select. And you're going to click on the vertice right in the middle here and go delete vertices. Now you're going to select all the edges around here. Once those are all selected, you're going to hit E on your keyboard. Okay, make sure you disable proportional editing when you're scaling. You're going to, once you have it about here, you're going to do Control E and you're going to mark sharp. And you're going to go to Tools and make sure you enable your Loop Tool add-on. So I have my Loop Tools. And you're going to click on Circle. Okay, so you're going to do flatten, radius 0, regular on the Y axis, influence 100%, so that it's going to be like this. Go back into object mode, and then you're going to create your curves. And obviously that looks kind of funky, so I created a preset called straight hair, which still looks funky, but we'll fix that in a second. I like to turn my noise all the way down, randomized spacing is all the way down, noise amplitude is at 0%, noise fall off is at -1%, noise frequency I like to do 0, and then offset is at 0.01, snap amount 1%. I do shorten segments, strand segments, I just leave that at 3, and I do not shorten my segments. And then at this point, what I'm going to be doing is my radius is going to get dropped down to about 0.58, and I'm going to change my amount of strands to about 15. That's what it looks like so far. Since it's going in through the skull, we are going to change the offset to 0.04, I believe. Let's try 0.03. That's about good. Okay, so we're going to have it at 0.03, so this is what it looks like so far. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now you're going to add your ribbon. Go down here to Align Tilt. You're going to change your width to 0.05. That could work, but I'm actually going to make it so there's no, I don't want there to be gaps. 0.07. Okay, so this is my layer 1, remember? And yeah, I know it looks kind of funky because her hair is in her face, but we'll fix that in a second. Okay, so now you're going to go back into edit mode, this view, and first I'm going to work on her bangs, so I'm going to hide by selecting these curves and then hitting H on the keyboard. You're going to hide those so it's easier to work on these. I'm going to subdivide these, so I'm going to go like that, hit plus on my keyboard, W, subdivide. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move this up so it's not right in her face a little bit. You won't know for sure like how far to move them until you do the material and texture, because that will, depending on the transparency, which we're actually going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, first I'm going to unhide everything. So I'm going to Control Alt H to unhide everything, and then I'm going to go Curve Ribbon UV Reset, a refresh. It does have a few, it has some textures on there now, but we're not going to use that. We're going to redo that, so I'll show you. To go into your node editor, make sure everything's set up properly. Okay, so at this point you're going to go into the UV image editor. You're going to hit spacebar and draw UV hair. I'm going to actually go shift delete. Okay, shift delete to delete those. And what I want to do, since this is my first layer of hair, I want it to be pretty opaque, not very transparent. So I'm actually going to just use this transparency hair material or hair texture. And then I'm going to hit enter. We'll be able to see what our bangs look like. And they're still a little bit long, so we're going to go ahead and shorten those. Kind of depends on when you want to actually do this. You can always wait till the very end, but I like to see what I'm doing and to render it while I'm doing the hair. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those. Go back here again, and I'm going to make her bangs a little bit shorter. That's actually better. I think I'm going to keep it like that for that part of it, but I'm going to change around this hair here. W subdivide. Already looks better. I will be lengthening all of the hair, but I kind of want these to be like layered sides. So I'm going to extrude. I'm going to extrude this down. And then I'm going to have it maybe frame her face a little bit, like this. So that's basically going to be the side there. I'm going to do that to the other side as well. There we go. It doesn't have to be like exactly the same on each side, otherwise, you know, it can give it a little bit more of a random look if you have it a little bit different on each side. Okay, so that's basically the bangs in the side of my hair, and I'm going to go ahead and Alt-H to make everything else bigger. Now, obviously, I want her to have longer hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide, for now, I'm going to hide this part. This here. Oh. Okay. Hide. Okay. So I hid the pieces of hair that I didn't want to get in my way, and now I'm going to select these. And it's always good to kind of have another screen or duplicate your screen so that you can see exactly where you're going with this. Okay, so now you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm going to extrude these because I want her hair to be longer. Okay, so we're going to go like this. We're going to go like this. And okay, and these pieces are actually going to be in front, so they're going to kind of lay on her chest here. But obviously they're going to look kind of funky when they're straight like that. So what I want to do is I'm going to select the two bottom ends there and then go Control plus, 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 and then I'm going to go randomized curve tilt. And I'm going to make it so it kind of curves like that. Move them a little bit so that they're kind of laying on her chest here. Make them as long as you want. Move them around a little bit so they're not right on top of each other. So. Okay, so once I got that part, I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-H again on my keyboard so everything comes back. I go over to the other side. Pretty basic. Just layer one. I'll show you here. I mean, this would even probably work for you if it was like a really, really, really low poly character. But obviously I want some more hair. So now, this is where it gets kind of fun. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and select all your curves. And mine's duplicated on accident because they're stuck together now, so just ignore that it looks like there's doubles. There wouldn't be in your case. So you're going to select all your curves and you're going to duplicate them and just kind of move them over to the side. Go over to them and then you're going to click on P and you're going to separate them. And now you're going to go back into, you're going to go into object mode. You're going to click on the new hair and you're going to set your origin. You're going to change it to origin to geometry. And then you're going to move it back over on top of your other hair and kind of line it up a little bit. About right there. And then now you can scale it a little bit. Not a terrible lot amount. Just so it's not overlapping too much. Move it down a little bit. And then you can go into edit mode. And now you're going to have a whole bunch because I accidentally doubled it up on accident. But now you can kind of move around the hair so that it's not exactly the same as the hair that's already there. It's going to be a little bit difficult in my case right now since everything's kind of doubled. It's just going to give me more hair. So I mean, you can technically use as many layers as you want. Mine was not done on purpose, so I have a whole bunch, which you never know, could make it look better. Just bigger. So we're just going to kind of go around, and what you can do to make it even easier is you can hit C on your keyboard and kind of, well, first unselect everything, hit C on your keyboard and kind of just select a couple dots here and there, vertices, just to make things easier to move around, and then you can just move them all together. Well, I didn't mean to select the ones on the other side, but I forgot to hide them, so unfortunately they're selected. So then we're going to unselect everything, hit C on your keyboard, kind of just go around and select some dots, and then move them around just to give it a little bit of, so it's not all exactly the same. Okay, don't mind me. Blender crashed and I had to pretty much redo the duplicate and rearrange the hair again, so it looks a little bit different. I forgot to save it. That's why it's important to save your work. Every time you do something pretty crazy, make sure you save it. Okay, so basically I'm going to go ahead and make the material, change the texture on this second layer of hair. And so I'm going to go back in here, go to my node editor, copy this, create a new material, delete this, paste the other nodes, go back into UV image editor, draw, delete, and then we're going to take this one. Oh. Okay, so Blender keeps crashing on me, but I finally did get the texture changed. And now we need to add some more fluff, like fluff on the hair, because right now it looks a little bit kind of just bland. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. So I'm going to select layer 2 in edit mode. And then we're going to duplicate it again. 2, we're going to duplicate, move it over here, hit P and go to separate, go to object mode, click on it, set origin to geometry, move it back over on top of your other hair so that it lines up about just about where you want it. We're going to scale this one a little bit. I like to kind of scale it in different ways. I'm going to scale it on the x-axis just to get it so it gets a little volume on that side. We're going to scale it on the y-axis a little bit. We're going to go ahead and create a new texture. And we should still have those nodes. Nope. Okay, we're going to go back to a different one and copy and paste our nodes onto this texture. You already seen me do that earlier, so I'm not going to have to show you that. So I already did that. Now I'm going to go into my image editor again, and this time I'm going to do, I guess I can show you. I'm going to do more like transparent, like pretty transparent pieces. So first I'm going to save it, since it likes to crash on this part. I'm going to go into draw UV hair area, and I'm going to use pretty transparent pieces. that one, this one. Oh, I have other ones, so I'm going to actually delete all those and start fresh. So this one. Drag really nice ones on there. I'll just do those for now. So I basically had to go through and create a brand new material on each hair layer because I somehow ended up, I was like sharing the material between my different layers somehow. I'm honestly not a professional when it comes to materials. I honestly have never really played around with the node editor, doing textures or anything. So I'm really new at that. So I do apologize. You may probably, if you're watching this, you probably know more about that than I do. So I was able to get, well, my materials working right. So as you can see, here's layer 1, there's layer 2, and there's layer 3. So as you can see, this one is obviously a lot more transparent as it's mostly white. So if I put them all together, and then we can, let me save it again because I'm worried. And then if we go to our render, see what it looks like. Doesn't look too bad. I obviously threw it together super fast for the tutorial, so you can obviously tweak it. You can make the curves maybe smaller, bigger, like maybe layer number 1. You could probably make more strands, I believe. I don't know if you can go back and edit the curves once you're done with the curves. I could probably try it if I maybe save it as a new. Alright, so I'm going to just kind of paste some audio in here because I did end up messing up some of my recording, so I'm going to kind of go back and let you know what happened. So I randomized the curve tilt on the 3rd layer. So it's like the layer on the very top that's really transparent. I just kind of wanted to give it a little bit more fluffiness. So I just did some randomized curve tilt and made it a little bit, I guess, kind of, I would say, wavy or curly, and it kind of sticks out a little bit, and that's how I got maybe more of the fuzz around the hair. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I did that on going forward. As you can see, the hair model does have the randomized curve tilt on the 3rd top layer. Okay, so as you can see, it kind of created some texture by doing it that way. Kind of a little texture in there. You can see what it looks like from the back. Let me see. I kind of like the strands on the side there. Gives it kind of a natural look. And it doesn't look too bad. Again, I kind of went through the back really fast, especially because I screwed up and I had to redo it. I put it together very quickly. Yeah, I like that. I kind of like having the randomized curve tilt on that, excuse me, 3rd layer in there. Kind of gives it a little bit more flyaways on the top. So basically, I mean, this is it. I mean, you can obviously tweak it more. You could, I mean, add even more layers depending on how big your file size. If you're not really worried about file size and you're mainly just doing some renders, then you can obviously add many more layers and get it thicker, fuller. These front pieces you could maybe just make long if you don't like the stem there like that. And I can bring these back in. Make sure I save it. See what it looks like now. Yeah, it's not bad. Just goofing around, really. You can probably make that look pretty good if you actually weren't doing a tutorial. So I mean, this is pretty much it. And then, oh well, it's not it actually. Let me go back here. So that very end, you're gonna want to make sure that you, here, let me get rid of this. You need to make sure you change it to a mesh. So first we're gonna save it, and then we're going to go do separate. So we're gonna start with layer 1. go to object mode, click on it, and we're going to say curve ribbons to mesh ribbons. We're going to go ahead and hide it. Go to layer 2, click on it, and we're going to go to curve ribbons to mesh. Please crash, and it froze. Oh, there we go. And we're going to hide that one, and we're going to go ahead and go into the third one. Why does that look funky? I want to edit that one a little bit. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, okay, mesh. So we have, this is all a mesh. And what's really cool is, okay, let's save it. You could, if you kind of want to move things around, you could actually go into sculpt mode. And let's say I want to move something and like just move it out of the way, move it in a different spot. You can actually move the hair. Oh, but I didn't, I have to join everything. But see, the thing is, if you, before you join them, you could technically kind of move around like certain layers, like you can watch it in the render and then move stuff around to see if you like it better in a different spot, like some of the flyaways, which is really fun. You can do really precise movements with sculpt mode. We're going to go back into object mode, and we're going to go ahead and combine all of our meshes into one. So I selected all of our hair meshes, and now I'm going to hit join. Bam! So now they're all just one. And my computer's starting to be slow. Okay, so if I go back into sculpt mode, technically I could now move some of the hair around. Like that one was kind of on the shoulder. This one looks like it might be kind of just, you know, if it's not in the right spot and you want to just kind of move them around a little bit, if they're like hitting your model. And yeah, you can just kind of move stuff around into different places. It's kind of cool. Gives you a little bit more freedom of where you want to put your, you know. Anyway, so that's fun. But now that you have your whole hair mesh here, you can export it.